this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
On eBay, every find has a story. Like if you're looking for a vintage band tee, not just a tee, the band tee. You wore it everywhere until your ex-boyfriend stole it. Now you're on eBay, and there it is. Same tee from the same tour. The things you love have a way of finding their way back to you, especially on eBay. Where else can you find that mint trading card you search for everywhere that's out of print? Or your first car, the one you wish you'd never sold? It has to be eBay. Shop eBay for millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love. Hey, and welcome to the Short Stuff. I'm Josh, and there's Chuck. And this is Short Stuff. And this is a good one. I'm excited about this one, Chuck. Let's go. Go. Chuck, go.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about petticoat rulers, and it might surprise people considering America today is ranked 81 out of 193 countries in women representation in government, that we actually had women who were mayors and city council people way back in the 1800s.
Yeah, there were two towns in particular, Oskaloosa, Kansas, and Kanab, Utah, that had elected all-female town councils in 1888 and 1912, respectively, which is pretty substantial. But then Jackson, Wyoming, home to the famous Jackson Hole, Wyoming, which I guess is a hamlet or a burg or some sort of affiliated town, but it's basically the same place, from what I understand. Oh, man, we're going to get some email from the Jackson people. They said, you know what, hold our beer, or hold our sarsaparilla, because we're going to one-up both of those towns. And in 1920, the year that women were granted suffrage by the Constitution, or the Bill of Rights, I should say, that same year, Jackson, Wyoming, elected not only an all-woman town council, Chuck, but also a mayor, a woman mayor, for the first time ever. And that group, these petticoat rulers as they came to be known, appointed women to the highest positions in the town: clerk, health, treasurer, and marshal. Isn't that amazing?
It is amazing. And I was surprised to see that the first woman elected mayor in the United States was all the way back in 1887.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, it was in Agoria, Kansas. Her name was, this one was the one, I believe we covered her before in something, Susanna Salter, who was placed on the ballot as a sort of a prank by men in the town who didn't think that women should hold office. They put her on the ballot thinking that she would be humiliated and it would set women back politically. And she didn't know she was on the ballot. It was like a blind ballot until the day of the election. Uh-huh. And she won.
That's awesome.
And went on to be mayor. The other one's Oskaloosa, Mary D. Lohman. She was legitimately elected mayor, and the first woman elected as mayor in Kansas with an all city council full of women. Nothing but ladies.
That's amazing. But the thing is yeah, like we think about it today and we're like, that's unheard of, like literally unheard of. I hadn't heard about that before. But the state of Wyoming is actually known as the equality state. And one of the reasons why is because, we associate 1920 as the year that women were granted the right to vote. That is a national thing. They had the right to vote back in 1869 in Wyoming. So it kind of like gives it a little more texture or context, or both, to know that women already had the right to vote for more than 50 years before Mayor Miller and the all-female town council were elected in Jackson.
Yeah, and that's how Mary Lohman won in Oskaloosa, is they had, in Kansas, they had the right to vote in municipal elections. Mm-hmm. And they won by a 2-1 margin on the Oskaloosa improvement ticket. Nice. The one in Utah was interesting too, and they both kind of had similar stories in that when they got in office, one of their big things was to kind of just clean up the town, collect back taxes. I think they had something like $200 in collected taxes just because people just refused to pay. And they went around personally to the houses, and I think they left office with $2,000 in the city coffers. And then Mary Woolley Chamberlain of Kanab, Utah, she was mayor for 2 years, and she had a female city council, and she was enacted one of the first leash laws for dogs.
Oh, cool.
and then wanted to protect local business. So she enacted a daily tax on traveling salesmen coming through town, because she was like, you can't just come through town, steal a bunch of business, and then leave with your pockets full. So we're going to tax you guys per day just to kind of drive business to protect local business.
That's some smart government right there.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a break and we'll come back and talk about some more smart government that was instituted by women around the turn of the last century. Okay?
Let's do it.
Think of all the stuff, there's so much stuff. Look at all the stuff you should know.
If you own a home, you already know stuff breaks. It's not if, it's when. And somehow it's always like the AC in July or the fridge right after you go to the grocery store. That's why you always hear people say they don't make appliances like they used to, because it's kind of true.
That's right. Good thing there's American Home Shield. With an AHS home warranty, they can help fix major home systems and appliance breakdowns like your AC, plumbing, or fridge. And if they can't repair your covered item, they'll replace it, no matter how old it is.
And that's huge, because fixing an AC can cost a lot. Like, hey kids, our vacation is canceled a lot. Plus, as a benefit to select plans, you can get real-time video help from live repair experts to troubleshoot home hassles at no extra cost.
Listen, everybody, home ownership is already stressful enough. No need to upset your wallet. So check out American Home Shield now and get 20% off any plan at ahs.com/SYSK and see promo details. See ahs.com/contracts for coverage details, including service fees, limitations, and exclusions. American Home Shield. Don't worry, be warranty. Hey, everybody, we want to talk to you about The Big Bang Theory. That's a show that became one of the most defining sitcom of its era and really built a fan base around its memorable characters and unique group dynamic.
That's right, which is why we think you'll enjoy the official Big Bang Theory podcast. It's back, covering seasons 3 and 4 of the show. Host Jessica Radloff sits down with crew and cast members like Kunal Nair, who plays Raj, Mayim Bialik, who plays Amy, and Kevin Sussman, who plays Stuart.
That's right. You're going to learn all about the Easter eggs you may have missed, behind-the-scenes stories, and how certain real-life relationships shaped some of the most memorable storylines.
Yeah, there's cast reflections years after the series aired and expanded content around famous episodes and storylines. It is exactly what you're looking for if you're a fan of The Big Bang Theory. The season is on video, so watch the official Big Bang Theory podcast on HBO Max, or listen wherever you get your podcasts, and stream episodes of The Big Bang Theory on HBO Max. All right, so Chuck, you said Kanab's town council were elected by a 2-1 margin. I saw the same thing, too, for Jackson's Petticoat rulers, which really kind of goes to underscore this. This was not like some fluke or a joke like the first female mayor in America, Salter? Is that what you said her name was?
Yeah, Susanna Salter.
She reminds me, that story reminds me of Elizabeth Blackwell getting into med school. Remember? It was supposed to be a prank and kind of blew up in the face.
That's probably what I was thinking of, actually.
Yeah, because I don't remember talking about Susanna Salter before either. But the fact that they won, that the Petticoat rulers and the Kanab, Utah town council won by like a 2-1 margin really shows that this was not like a joke or a fluke. I think one woman, one of the city council members, beat her husband in the election in Jackson in 1920.
Rose Crabtree.
Yeah, and which that had to taste pretty sweet. And then the fact is that a lot of them were reelected when they came up for reelection. So not only was it a good idea, they proved themselves as worthy for reelection too. And some of the things they did, like you said, they beefed up the town coffers. I saw they didn't institute a leash law in Jackson, but they did criminalize littering for the first time. They cleaned up the town square, meaning that they didn't allow cattle grazing there anymore. That was another thing they did. What else?
They graded the streets. They said, how about some street lights and street lamps? Let's expand electrical service. Let's get a cemetery going in this town because everyone's always shooting each other.
Right? Or they used to when the men ran the place. That was another thing I saw, too. I mean, you were talking about the back taxes not being collected and them getting like an additional $1,800 into the treasury. One of the things that I saw, I think it was in a Jackson Hole newspaper, the reason for that was that this town had been run like really insouciantly by men up to that point, and that there was like this kind of pioneer spirit where everyone was expected to take care of their neighbor, and everyone did and stepped up when help was needed. But it wasn't like a organized structural civic pride, and that's what the Petticoat rulers came in and instituted. They basically said, hey, you know that the whole take care of your neighbor thing? Well, there's actually a lot of things we could be doing through government, and let's start doing that. And that actually kind of took off.
Yeah, and Grace Miller, the mayor of, I think she was Jackson, right?
Yeah.
She said in an interview, we simply tried to work together. We put into practice the same thrifty principles we exercise in our own homes. We wanted a clean, well-kept, progressive town in which to raise our families. What is good government but a breathing space for good citizenship?
Nice.
And it sort of reminds me of that quote. I don't know the exact quote, but it's sort of like if you want the job done on time and right, like hire a working mom or something like that.
I think you're talking about something to do with like lipstick and pipples.
No.
No? Is that a different one?
I think so.
Okay. The one you're talking about makes a tremendous amount of sense, though. So the Petticoat rulers came in, and from what I understand, there's a town historian, Morgan Albertson. I'm going to take a stab at this last name. Jaouen? What do you think?
Sure.
Jaouen. It's a beautiful,
maybe it's just
beautiful name.
Queen.
Right. Either way, it looks very, very nice spelled out. But historian, we're just going to call this person the historian, basically said that the Petticoat rulers shaped Jackson and Jackson Hole into the town that they know and love today, and that it may have just kind of become a town that ended up deserted and misused and mistreated and misgoverned and lost to history. The historian's willing to go so far as to say that. Either way, the rulers definitely deserve credit for shaping the place. But the weird thing is, Chuck, is like despite how successful the all-female town council and mayor and appointed positions was for Jackson, it's like the town was like, okay, well, we tried that. Let's wait another 80 or so years before we do it again.
Yeah, we tried that and it worked out really great.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just wait till the 1980s.
Yeah, 1980s was the first time that women city council people were elected again. And it wasn't until 2001 when they had another woman mayor. Jean Jackson was elected in 2001. So it went from Mayor Miller, Grace Miller, in 1920 to Jean Jackson in 2001. That was quite a drought.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
I got nothing else. We salute them.
I do too, but I have one last thing. The women were all members originally of what was called the Pure Foods Club, which was a social group that met a couple of times a month. And that's where the idea to run was hatched and nurtured. And that group is still around today, but they call themselves the Birthday Club. But isn't that adorable? This group's been around since the early 1900s, and they still meet twice a month. And now men are allowed.
I love the Birthday Club. I want to be in that group.
They'll let you in. You're a man and likable. So I think those are the two qualifications.
And I have birthdays.
You do. You have a birthday. Well, yeah, hats off to the Petticoat rulers and all of the women who helped shape the United States then and now. And I guess that means Short Stuff is out.
Stuff You Should Know is a production of iHeartRadio's How Stuff Works. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.